mix in.
It does smell like a Starbucks.
I want to say I'm going into this with an open mind, but I am not. That smell.
You could not be less open.
Right. It's not as bad as dirty sock beer that we had.
I mean, you haven't tasted it yet, though.
I would argue that pumpkin and caramel smell.
I'm going to try and do it without smelling it.
No, you can't. That's cheating.
I know. All right.
It may be better than you think.
I think it will be.
That answer was, it is not better than you think.
All right, when's get to taste it?
That's a 1. I am not finishing that beer.
But I like the smell of it.
A 1 is I won't finish it if it's open.
No?
And that's a 1.
That's can't be that bad.
It is. Hey, welcome back to the Cash Flow Podcast with me, Pam Pryor. Glad to have you here where we talk about everything money related in your business. So without further ado, let's hop right in. And welcome back for another Cash Flow Podcast. We are doing our very last show of the year. So wishing you right off the bat a wonderful start to 2025 and a great holiday season. But what are we going to cover today? Few different things. First of all, in our news segment, we're going to talk about finance, personal finance education showing up now in the education system in the U.S. I'm really excited about this one in a really fun, gamified way. Then I left the selection of our beer today to our producer. So thanks to Francis, we will be trying a pumpkin beer, which you can tell I'm very excited about. And finally, in our actual segment where we talk about cash flow and running our partnership, Francis and I are going to talk about a subject that I know will be close to a lot of your hearts, burnout. How to identify it, what to do about it, and some of the repercussions if you don't do something about it. So let's jump right on in now with the news segment. I am really excited about this news piece because we're finally starting to introduce personal finance education into our school systems. One of the things I tell entrepreneurs all the time is there's absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about that they don't really know and understand the finances in their businesses. They have a good gut feel for it, but they don't really know the terminology and the tools and what questions to ask. And it's not their fault because nowhere in our education system, not elementary school, not middle school, not high school, not college, not the streets, not hard knocks, there's nowhere that we actually teach some of these things that people need to know to just adult in a society that depends on money. So I was really excited to read that first of all, 26 states now are requiring personal finance education as part of their programs before kids are even allowed to graduate from high school. So that I was really happy to see. I didn't know we'd gotten that far. So big plus. I need to find out which 26 states those are. But the really cool thing is in Utah, near Salt Lake City, which, by the way, Salt Lake City has now become a really big hub for small businesses and entrepreneurship. But there is now in the Draper suburb of Salt Lake City, there's a financial education program that is actually doing a Shark Tank-like event in middle school, which I think is fantastic. So what's happening is they're teaching investors, they're teaching business owners, young business owners, the hardest thing that grown-up business owners have to do, which is find investment money. And it's kind of fun to read this article because they're learning how to take their business ideas, turn it into a pitch to convince potential investors to invest. And I'm just going to read you a quote because I love it. It makes me so happy to see this. I'm really excited because I think our company has a good shot at winning it, said 6th grader Lainey Allman. She and her classmates participated in the It's My Business competition, which is a sponsored competition allowing them to try and find investors. And the cool thing about this is their business idea is Just Right Clothing Company. Makes t-shirts with heating and cooling technology for maximum comfort. All right, how about that, right? These are middle school kids learning that their ideas, that their thoughts can turn into things of value that both serve other people but also make them money. The other two that are kind of in the running to win are Wish Wash Pet Brush and a designed all-in-one grooming tool, which I'm going to have to look up because I certainly have the animals that need grooming. And then too lit to sip. Sorry. A multifunctional heating and cooling cup. I'm very interested to know what that's about. So I'm going to look up a little bit more on these. And so they were taught to brainstorm, which is one of our skill sets that we need. And they were taught to take that brainstorming into an idea that was more fleshed out and then build a business plan. All of these are great skills, especially in a world where, as we know from another article that we were going to talk about today, employees in big companies are getting less and less engaged because they're being left out of understanding how they fit into the bigger puzzle. So having kids learn at a very young age what some of their alternatives are to sort of the classic go work for somebody for the rest of your life phenomenon or work for 8 companies as an employee, they're getting to see what the alternatives are right out of the gate, which a lot of people, I loved my corporate life, working for companies, a lot of people do, but it'd be really cool for kids to now know, oh, here's a bunch of choices that you have. So love to see that, and I'll be looking for more news on this project. Now, we're going to dive into a very questionable beer. Hang on for the next segment. Well, welcome to our brews section, where, as you can tell, I am thrilled to proceed because I made the mistake of telling Francis he could run for the beer today or I would run for the beer today.
I love it.
Francis ran for the beer today and brought us back the thing that I swore I would never do on this show, and now I'm breaking my promise, thanks to you. We're going to taste a pumpkin IPA. So, good thing is it's out of Southern Tier Brewing Company, which we know and love for a lot of their IPAs.
Yeah, we like a lot of their beers.
In fact, I think you got me a 15-pack of
I did. I made
others.
up for the bad one by getting you
one of the
all of
ones
your
in the
favorites.
15-pack?
That wasn't even near it.
Then we're good. So, and Southern Tier Brewing Company, just as a reminder, they've been around since 2002. They're in Lakewood, New York. They have a lot of really good beers, and I know they're all in our region in the Northeast and the Middle Atlantic. I'm not sure how far they reach out beyond that, but their brews are handcrafted. 30 states they're in now. So they're really working themselves up from sort of small craft brewery to much bigger craft brewery.
Scaling up. And
they crossed what I consider the evil borderline and created a pumpkin IPA. So
You're leaving out caramel.
Yeah, I know. All right, so here's the scoop on this beer that I am about to try against every promise I have ever made you. So, Caramel Pumpking Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Here's the rule on caramel. It says, Imperial Pumpkin Ale. The king's magical court flourished with the alluring addition of caramel pumpkin. Savor the magical aroma of spiced pumpkin as it unites with the sweet enchantment of caramel or caramel. Do you say caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
But you're
okay.
Southern.
Yeah.
That's a Southern thing,
but
isn't
usually
it?
The Southerns are caramel.
Caramel?
You say caramel. You've morphed north into south. Okay.
Philly's rubbing off on you.
That's right. We'll turn them yet. As it unites with the sweet enchantment of caramel in each sip. No matter how you celebrate the season, this brew is sure to leave you spellbound.
Let's try it.
Okay. Now remind me, I use this end?
No, the other end.
This end.
This goes in here.
Yep.
Like this. And then you use this as kind of the pivot.
Leverage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. This is only the second time I'm trying this. Lower?
Yeah, no, you wanted the bottle to be lower.
Oh, this.
Like right in there, yeah. Right in the crook there.
And then we use this as the fulcrum.
Yeah, and just like the edge, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Just a normal bottle opener, basically. There you go! That was impressive.
That's easy.
Yeah,
How could I have lived 62 years before I learned that trick?
You can do it with keys, lighters, anything. It's
you just have something that'll give you a good
lever. Just a little edge, yeah.
All right, Wen. Wen is on the set because Francis is in his sober December.
Yes.
And is not going to be imbibing with us here on our very last beer tasting, potentially. Unless we carry it into another season.
And I only brought one glass down. I'm so sorry.
That's
I forgot.
Okay. It stinks. But it does win the Pretty Award. That is beautiful.
Smells bad, you said?
It smells like pumpkin and caramel. It smells like freaking Thanksgiving dinner.
I'm glad I'm not tasting it.
Oh, you suck.
It does smell.
I think I might actually enjoy it.
You might like this one.
It smells really caramely. Holy cow.
It's like
Look at Diego. Nope, you cannot have any.
no, that didn't work last
It
time.
smells like a candle.
Oh, I can't believe I'm going to drink this. And it's warm. It's not even really cold.
I mean, we spent a very long time trying to choose the news.
Oh, you're blaming this on me. You want to go first?
No.
Okay. First of all, it smells like...
It smells like those well, minus the apple, but like those Halloween candies that are the green pop with the caramel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It smells like that.
Or a liqueur, like
Yeah.
a really overly rich, sweet liqueur.
It's like a Starbucks mix-in.
It does smell like a Starbucks
I want to say I'm
syrup.
going into this with an open mind, but I am not. That
You
smell...
could not be less open.
Right, it's not as bad as Dirty Sock beer that we had.
I mean, you haven't tasted it yet, though.
I would argue that pumpkin and caramel smell
I'm going to
better
try
than
and do
a
it
dirty
without
sock.
smelling it.
No, you can't.
That's not
That's
how taste works.
cheating.
I know. All right.
It may be better than you think.
I think it will be.
That answer was it is not better than you think.
All right, when's get to
That's
taste
a
it?
1. I am not
I mean, I don't
finishing
like
that beer.
But
A
I like
one-
the smell of it.
A 1 is I won't finish it if it's open.
No?
And that's a 1.
It
That's
can't
all-
be that bad.
It
It
is
smell like a candle.
terrible.
burnt down.
It basically tastes like you're drinking a candle. Even Diego's like,
It's all right. I mean, it tastes like beer without being like really strong, which I don't like.
it's
beer,
8.6.
It is 8.6.
But I mean, like the strong flavor. Like
I think, I don't know.
Strong
I don't
flavor.
think
I've
you-
got caramel dying on my
I mean,
tongue.
The beer flavor, like the hoppy beer, whatever. Like that's very reduced.
Don't put that near me.
I don't think that you
I don't
had
even
enough
know.
of a taste of it.
I am
though.
not touching that
I don't
again.
think you
No.
had enough of a taste to really give it a fair chance. We normally do like 2
I have to
sips.
do this.
We normally do. Like
I normally
2
drink the
sips.
whole thing.
I know, but I feel like you need to take a second sip just to really ruminate in it and see if the flavors evolve.
Okay, I'm going to do a little mini meditation here and then do it with a completely open mind.
Okay.
Just a moment. I do not like it, Sam. I am.
Are there any redeeming qualities?
Nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing. I taste, sorry, Southern Tier, I love your other stuff. It basically tastes like you're pouring liquid pumpkin pie over your mouth and then topping it with caramel and letting it lie there on your tongue.
with beer.
Now, this is not a comment on the quality of the beer because I just don't like pumpkin beer.
Yeah.
And caramel added to it obviously is not something I like
It
either.
was on your hard nose list, and when
But
I
if-
saw it, I just knew.
If you like pumpkin beer, you'd probably like this.
I don't get
And
a
the
lot of pumpkin.
caramel,
It's like very caramel.
I get the pumpkin for sure.
Yes.
And the caramel, but does have a caramel twist to it. So
Is it spicy?
no.
There's no spice at all?
Well, it's like
cinnamon
cinnamon.
If it had like more pumpkin spice, like clovey.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I
true.
might like it better.
And there's not that. It's like the typical stuff you'd put in a pumpkin pie. And it just,
So it's a 1 for you. What's your rating?
it's lower than a 1. I won't even finish this. I'll finish a 1. I didn't finish Dirty Sock, I don't think. But I'm not finishing this.
I don't want it ever. I don't want beer.
Well, that's true. But we reduced your scale anyway to what, 1 to 3 or
Yeah,
1
I
to
think you have a
2.
1 to 3.
And you're not
Never
allowed
had
to
a
do
3.
half points.
I am allowed to do.
No, there's
no
not half points.
We don't do half points here.
It's either 1, that's the worst thing I've ever had in my
It's
life.
not the worst beer I've ever tried.
It's
in my
2,
life. No.
it tastes like a beer. And
Sure.
3 is, oh, I like that.
Yeah, because I'm never gonna hit a 4. Like
That's
I
the
want to
when
drink it
KPI
ever.
scale.
'Cause I will never want to drink it.
That.
2 is fine.
What do you want, buddy?
He wants pets.
Yeah, you want me to fix you there.
What would you pair it with? Besides
Pumpkin
the
pie.
sink.
Another beer.
Trash.
Something to wash
Yeah.
down the taste.
Hard liquor.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think using it for like a pumpkin pie. Something.
There you go. Cooking with it might
Yeah,
be good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe, okay, hear me out. Apple cider. Putting
Put
it in an apple cider?
Yeah, or
Mm.
put it in like cinnamon roll, like icing or something.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I can
People
get
do that
there.
with bourbon.
Because then it's not trying to be beer, it's trying to be caramel
It
pumpkin.
works,
Mhm.
yeah.
Beer and caramel pumpkin, they don't mix. It's not meant to be a thing. Somebody came up with the idea. It may work in coffee. I might like it in coffee, but it does not work with beer, in my not so humble opinion. All right, so that's a bust on that one. For me. Again, if you like pumpkin caramel, stop on over. You can have the rest of this.
Awesome.
There we go. All right. So jumping into our cash flow segment of the podcast,
Yeah.
one of the things we've been talking about as we sort of wrap up this segment on getting a partnership started and all the things you should think about.
Yeah.
Starting with, just to do a quick recap, you need to create a company. You need to decide what percentage each person's going to own. You need to set up the bookkeeping. You need to get the bank account set up. And we talked through all the ups and downs of that and planning for the next year and budgeting. The thing that we haven't hit on is, in your particular case now, you are involved in 3 businesses.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm involved in 3 businesses that are a little less extreme than you. I'm 99% in one and a little bit involved as a consultant in the other 2. Yeah. And we decided we should talk about burnout as the last piece of the habits discussion.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the habits and things are great. You're doing an awesome job of, for example, giving things up in December, getting up, exercising, taking the time for yourself, valuing yourself enough to do that. And along the same lines of valuing yourself, there's this flip side of habits and workload that is burnout. Now, I always got pissed off when people talk to me about work-life balance. Yeah. I don't think that's a thing. I mean, maybe that'll be controversial, but I don't really care because it aggravated the bejesus out of me when people told me I didn't have work-life balance. Because I always loved work. I didn't ever want them to be separate. I wanted to enjoy my work. I wanted to enjoy my personal life, and they overlapped. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, but I had fun wherever I was. Yeah. And living life to me was about having fun and being a decent human. So I would never give anybody a lecture on work-life balance. Burnout, however, was another thing. Because I got so offended at the work-life balance conversation, I, in my 30s, did hit a complete wall at one point. So at that point, I was a leader of a team. We were doing an implementation of a new ERP finance system worldwide. I had just changed jobs into that role, and so I was on a learning curve. I was in school, and that semester was 3 courses, so that was 6 hours, 3 hours 3 times a week plus homework. Yeah. And so I would go into work, get there around 7. I'd leave at 6:30 in time to get to school by 7 p.m., take the 3-hour class, go back home, and from 10 to 1 or 2, work on homework.
That's a full day.
And I did that for probably half a semester. Weekends were full of homework. If there was such a thing as work-life balance, I definitely tilted. So at one point, I just hit a wall. And I forget what it was. I think something just stupid, straw that broke the camel's back thing hit me at work one day, and I just melted down. And really a full-on meltdown. Like my boss said, hey, you got to go home because, this is not good. And do we need to drive you? And I ended up taking the rest of the semester off from school, even though I'd already been through half of it. Wow. To DuPont's credit, God bless them, they still paid for that, those 3 courses, even though I didn't finish them. And I just took them again later. But, that was back in the day where the employer kind of said, oof, we sort of maybe kind of caused this, so let us go ahead and pay for these. But that was another big stressor, right? It was like, oh my God, if I leave these classes, I'm going to have to pay for them. Mm-hmm. And it was just an eye-opener for me, because before then I had been kind of immune to this thing they called burnout. It's like anything else. I don't meditate, I used to say, until I did, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. I won't burn out, I used to say, until I did. So not to kind of put you in the middle of the conversation, but you're burning the candle on both ends right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
3 ends, probably. You just got married. You have full-time work here at Priorities. You have a second business, and now you have a third business. Yeah. And you were telling me, how much sleep did you get last week?
Last week it was like 9.5 hours, 10 hours total probably.
In the week?
Yeah, in the full week. It was not a lot of sleep. There's just so much to do. Yeah. And the thing that I think is big is when you're scaling and when you're early on, you're working in the business and on the business at the same time. So there's so many different facets that go into this.
And you can't let one of the balls drop.
Yeah, exactly. And you, as the owner of the business, you feel all the pressure, and you feel obligated to continue to do this. And with these businesses, we're working with partners, and we all feel obligated to put the work in, to do the time, and to build it for each other as much as for ourselves. And I think that is one of the aspects that allows me to kind of not feel as
tired
alone in this, because I'm sharing this load with
That's a
so
great
many
point.
different people.
Yep.
But it definitely, it will catch up to you eventually when you do this in this way. Now, granted, not all of the sleep stuff is because of the business, right? I wake up early because I like to work out in the morning. Yep. I spend my time in the morning a little bit more reflective. I try to meditate when I can. I don't really do it much successfully. Normally it's like a minute of trying to meditate followed by reading a book for 15 minutes. Yeah, or something along those lines. But all that to say that it's not all business
You're taking time for you. You're taking care of you in this. A lot of times people get to burnout and they're not fit and eating right and all of that. So like the complete beautiful puzzle is, sleep, eat, exercise, right?
Exactly.
And you've got two of them knocked out. Yeah. It's just that third little pesky one. And it's just interesting to me because it's like we're seeing this same thing from two completely different perspectives, right? So I'm seeing it from, hey, y'all keep going like this, the whole business is in jeopardy because you hit a wall and all sorts of things happen when you hit a wall. I remember, throwing my glasses.
Lots of glasses.
I know, really. I remember being on your side of this and going, it will be fine. Yeah. If I burn out, I'll take a couple days off and we'll come right back. Both of those things are right.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the piece that I wonder about is, do you miss the sleep?
I've never been somebody that needs a full 8 hours every night. When I was younger, I was always able to kind of go off of like 4 hours to 6 hours of sleep a night. And I think that's another kind of contributing factor here that allows me to continue to operate and function mentally.
Yep.
The worst part of the day isn't getting up in the morning. It's 10:30, 11 p.m. No, it's 10:30, like 11 p.m., where I know I probably have like another hour and a half to 2 hours of stuff I got to get through.
Got it.
And then I'm at like I'm a little bit tired. My brain's a little bit foggy, but I just got to pump shit out, But, going back to that, sharing the load with people, not feeling like you're doing it all by yourself, being able to rely and trust that everybody is operating in this way, not in this way, because that's not what the expectation is, but everybody is burning the candle at both ends because of the stage that we're at in the business.
It happens whether you have one business or three businesses, really.
Exactly, especially when you're developing and scaling and trying to make connections. A lot of it is fun stuff that we get to do.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah, the work isn't necessarily we're sitting at a desk for 10 to 16 hours a day. It's we have a photo shoot or a video shoot or a production meeting, or we meet with a client, or we have a networking event. That's all work in this sphere to me.
Yep.
And that stuff doesn't feel necessarily as bad. Really, honestly, the most difficult part is finding the time to work on the business and not in the business.
Yeah.
I think is the driver of the most stress in my life right now.
Well, I think one of the things you've done with that is you've set aside time that you work on the business.
Yeah.
So my feedback or my recommendation for anybody watching, and what has worked for me is, it is absolutely true that the amount of work will grow into the amount of time you allow for it. So if you are working 22 hours a day, you'll have 22 hours a day of work.
Yeah.
What I learned that I did not believe until I did it myself was when I stopped doing that, I was able to do 22 hours worth of work in 12 hours.
That's a good point.
Because it's a very different person and energy and ability to see connections and really minimize, like help time collapse.
Yeah.
There's a big part of work that is doing it the easy way, doing it the hard way. And when you're really tired and you're going at it like that and you've just been pounding at the same thing or whatever for a long period of time, for me anyway, if I had a particular spreadsheet model I had to build, I could take 6 hours to build it. Gotcha. But if I went to bed, got up the next day, did my morning routine and sat down at 10 o'clock, it would take me 2 hours to do.
Wow.
Because I was thinking more clearly. I had ideas that I hadn't had because I'd been sitting there staring at it for so long. Yeah. And in many cases, I would remember or think of things I'd already done that took away a bunch of work. I call that collapsing time.
Yeah.
So I collapsed a 6-hour job into a 2-hour job. But I didn't start doing that until I started with the sleep. And this is only kind of half a lecture. I'm lecturing myself on the other piece, which is eating and exercise.
Yeah.
Right? So you have one deficiency. I have 2 of the 3 are deficient. I eat unhealthy and I don't exercise well. And I know that if I did those 2 things, that if I took the time to do those 2 things, I'd actually make up more time in my day.
Isn't that interesting?
So what I'm going to throw at you as a challenge or an exercise to try, and I suggest this too if you're in that same kind of, my God, the work just never stops thing, is you call a stop to it. Like your getting up in the morning to exercise is irrevocable. It's sacrosanct, right? So if you said even something as simple as I will sleep 4 hours each night, even just make it 4, and tell yourself, oh, if I do that, I'll get twice as much done tomorrow than I would if I don't sleep 4 hours. So yes, there may be this task that I won't get done before I go to, like you said, you get home at 11. I'm saying go to bed at 11. And accept that task that you were going to spend the next hour and a half doing, you could do in half an hour tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think that's a good trade-off.
Because you don't make mistakes. You're not mistyping. You're not sending bad emails. You're not, editing, foggy brained. And so I might say, look, make it as important. Like you do this, you've got all 3 of the things. You're like in perfect land then, right? I don't know anybody who does all 3. Well, that's not true. I do. But sleep, eat, and exercise in healthy proportions. You did that. You're going to be freaking unstoppable.
Yeah, the other thing too is like sleep. The one thing that I really do recognize is sleep is so key to recovering from exercise.
That's when the build happens.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think that it sounds messed up, but that's like one of the main reasons why I want to sleep more is so that my body can recover so I can do more.
Whatever the reason is, right? Because that's really just an analogy for what's happening with everything else.
Yeah.
So that's true. If you don't sleep, your muscles don't recover and you don't get the benefit of the built muscle.
Same with your brain. Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really good challenge. I accept the challenge.
Awesome.
I'll aim for 4 to.
I think 4 is fair.
4 to 5
I'm not going to go from 9 a week to 8 hours a night. You don't need 8 hours a night. I probably get 5, 4.5 to 5, but that in my morning routine, sometimes my meditation turns into a little half-hour nap. So, not always. I would say 2 out of 7 days, I'll fall just sound asleep like within 2 seconds.
Gotcha.
Another 2 days, I'll probably drift into sleep for some period of time. But then the other 3, I'm not aware. It's a weird sort of trancey thing, but it's a very cool meditation. So I probably get, say, 5.5 to 6 hours. But I'm also older.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be really cool. I'm really excited to hear how it goes.
Yeah, new year, new challenge. I like it. I think that it'll definitely contribute to functioning in a more efficient way. And you know me, I'm all about
you can get twice as much done in half the time. Oh, wait a minute. That's good math.
Yeah.
And I might be able to sleep.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, is are you a person who can fall asleep when you go to bed?
At the point of tiredness that I've been at, I just put my head on the pillow and I'm instantly
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, because that would frustrate me when I was younger. I couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
My mind wouldn't stop racing. And, of course, I was too good for meditation because I didn't really know what it was. So my mind would race and I'd sit there for 1 or 2 hours. And I was like, this stinks.
Yeah.
But if you fall asleep right away, then
I'm almost like out instantly.
That's really good.
I've always been one of those people that can fall asleep anywhere.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I don't think that falling asleep has ever been my problem. It's just like staying asleep. Sometimes I do wake up too, you know?
Well, but plus you also just define the first time you really struggle is at that 11 o'clock mark.
Yeah.
So the very cool thing would be is if you're starting to struggle, maybe see that as a hint. I'm starting to struggle at this. Now I'm struggling. Now's when I'll stop.
Now it's time.
But what you have to tell yourself is, okay, whatever it was I thought I had to do for the next hour, I can do it half an hour tomorrow if I just go to bed now.
If I just go to bed, yeah.
So that might be help sort of pick the time to go to bed. But the cool thing, like I hit my slump. Everybody has a slump time during the day. I hit it usually around 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Do you normally eat a little bit before then?
No, but I should watch my blood sugar because I'll bet you it's actually a lower blood sugar thing because I forget to eat. This is what I was telling you. I don't eat right and I don't exercise.
I have an alarm set on my phone now to remind me to have lunch.
Perfect. And I was just at the doctor this morning and he reminded me to put an alarm on my phone to remember to exercise.
That's your challenge.
Yes. Remember to just get up, walk around, squats, plank, little bit of strength training, just with a couple of, light weights. Just do stuff.
Just move.
Just
Motion
move.
is lotion.
Yeah. In my particular case, I just need to translate a number of fat cells to muscle cells.
Gotcha.
And that's just exercise.
It's just exercise.
And it's not anything dramatic even.
Yeah, and it's crazy how little you actually have to do.
Exactly. And how easy it will become once I make a habit of. Now, he told me, and I'm curious what you think, that it takes 6 weeks to make a habit.
6 weeks.
What's your take on how long it takes to really create something that's like, oh, I don't want to miss this now?
I feel like I've always heard is it 70 days?
70 days?
Like that? I feel like that's what I've heard as a common thing. And I feel like
that's 10 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like 6 weeks almost feels
too
lower.
Short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because to me, it's like 6 weeks is when you're in the groove. But then afterwards, there's always like after that, an 8-week slump where you're like, okay, what am I doing this for? The consistency. And then after you get past that slump,
then good. You feel and see the difference.
Yeah.
Right. I would love, for me, the thing would be energy.
Energy?
Because I run at high energy, but like today, I'm not at my highest energy.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, maybe if I had some protein for dinner last night, I'd be at a higher energy level or something like that.
You are supposed to be having more protein as well.
I am. In fact, I just had a protein bar.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good, actually. I don't know the brand anymore because I threw the wrapper away, but it was pretty good.
It looked like Pure One or something.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to be getting 120 grams of protein a day.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so
that sounds about right. A lot of people underestimate how much protein they're supposed to have.
Good steak
and with women,
some peas.
Yeah, but women specifically, they don't realize how much their muscles and bones degenerate over time as they get older, and how important
that starts
it is
at 40.
Yeah, even younger. It's like 35, I think, is when like your body starts to your cells start to
have the calcium issues and
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that myself. I'm going to be focusing in the new year, and he said, wait till the new year. Don't do it to yourself over the holidays.
Enjoy the holidays
and start. I have to figure out where to incorporate the exercise in my day, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like we're at times that you already are going to be up.
Yeah, well, what he said is, you've got the iPhone watch.
Yeah.
He said it makes you stand up every hour anyway.
That's true.
When you stand up, do 10 squats one time.
Yeah.
Do 10 lifts the next time. Hop on the rower the next time. Take a walk the next time. Like literally now. So when I add all that up, it would be a half an hour of exercise.
You're also working from your office more now, right?
Back and forth. 50-50 from the office and the nest.
I was going to say, because you do have your standing desk, and you could use the standing desk and just use that walking treadmill that you have upstairs. That could be good.
During the winter months, that's what I intend to do. Because then I don't even have to. I also could just walk up and down the stairs in a circle a couple times.
Are good. Getting that lactic acid
that gets the aerobic going too.
Yeah.
So you're going to sleep, and I'm going to exercise.
I like it. I think that's a fair deal between business partners.
I love it. That's our lead into the next year. So we're not calling them resolutions, because resolutions are, I don't know. I just find that a promise once a year, I never keep it.
No.
Whereas I just say I'm going to make a little change here.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen to be on January 1st or 2nd.
Yeah.
And if you've got a resolution or something else, habit that you're trying to change after our conversation about habits, drop it in the comments. We'd love to know about it and feature you in a conversation next year on habits as we all march down the road. But in the meantime, I wish you a really happy new year. Walk into 2025 in health and happiness. And thanks for listening to us. Like, subscribe, anything to tell us that we're on the right track with this podcast for you.
See you guys.
Thanks so much for watching the Cash Flow Podcast with us. We want to bring more and more of this to you, so please like, share, subscribe, comment, so that we can keep bringing more of this content to you.